Hello, my name is Yahya Lomar, and today I'm going to be explaining my program pathway here at Alliant University. Okay. So, what is my program pathway? The pathway that I chose to pursue here at Alliant International University is the preliminary single subject teaching credential, the student teacher option. The reason why I chose this was because looking at what they considered was a beginner versus intermediate versus advanced, I felt more comfortable as a beginner. Also, it seemed to be one of the quicker options. I think it's one less class and a few less hours of total clinical um, practice is required. And why I picked single subject specifically is because I want to be a physical education teacher either in a middle school or in a high school. The reason why is I currently have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology with the concentration exercise science. I'm coming from the personal training field, the fitness field, and I want to be able to impact kids a little more directly. I always had an interest in teaching, and I'm currently involved in a school district right now as a high school and middle school soccer coach on the girls' side, and as a substitute teacher. So I thought perfect combination for everything and perfect pathway to pursue. What courses do I need to take for my program pathway? I have a total of 11 courses that I need to pass with a B or higher. Anything less than a B or B minus, I would be forced to retake the class. And if I unfortunately bail or aren't or I'm not able to pursue or finish that, um, I may end up getting further action taken care of. But nonetheless, the 11 classes that I have to take are EDU 62030, Professional Learning and Practice, and EDU 62040A, which is Educational Foundations, the Learner and the Learning Environment. I'm currently enrolled in both those classes for this current term that started in March. It seems like, according to my pathway, the next class I'd be taking would be Educational Technology. And then the fun begins. And then I get to start having a combination of in class and clinical practice. So I'll have content knowledge and instructional practice, secondary methods, one, and clinical practice number one, which is planning. This is an observation course, or I would be in a classroom observing a master teacher. The next a couple classes that generally go hand in hand are content knowledge and instructional practice two, literacy pedagogy, and clinical practice number two, teaching and learning. So this I'll continue to observe in the classroom for another 8 weeks, but might start getting a little more hands-on. The next couple classes are content knowledge and instructional practice, number three, and teaching English learners, and clinical practice number three, assessment. So this one is when I start becoming the teacher of the class. So I'll be in charge of the class, the lesson plan, the curriculum, making sure kids are following the standards of the school and really taking charge. This is my first crack at it. And then I'll round off the program with content knowledge and instructional practices number four, differential learning, and clinical practice number four, reflection and personal responsibility. So this is the second 8 week term of me student teaching. Again, I'm collaborating with the teacher, the master teacher itself, and really taking on that day-to-day role of being that teacher, from first bell to the last bell, running each period or class and continuing on from there. Okay. As previously mentioned, so I have four classes that require clinical hours. And that's clinical practice one, clinical practice two, three, and number four. So for each class, I have a certain amount of hours I need to hit in order to pass. For clinical practice one and two, Each class requires 60 hours of me observing in a physical classroom uh, with a master teacher at hand. And then for 3 and 4, it increases 4 times, 240 hours. And again, this is where I would be student teaching. So it's me in the classroom from first bell to last bell, attending meetings if I have to, any extra trainings if there's any planned and if it's applicable. Basically, being that teacher and holding their responsibilities for those 2 8-week terms in order for me to reach those 240 hours. In total, I have to hit 600 hours of clinical practice in order to qualify and be recommended for a preliminary single subject teaching credential. Okay. Generally, this is how those 600 hours break down. There's a couple categories. So, as previously mentioned, 120 of those 600 are going to be observation. So, that's clinical practice 1, clinical practice 2. I'm more of an observer, learning how to interact and how the master teacher themselves conducts and runs their classroom, how they meet their standards, how they engage with the students, and how they're able to manage the classroom overall. Okay, the remaining 480 hours, I'd be student teaching, either solo or in some cases there might be a co-teaching option. But basically, I'm running the show. So kids will report to me. I'm the one taking attendance, teaching the section in the PE class, whether it's a sport, interactivity, they're running the mile and preparing for the California Standardized Fitness Test. You name it, it's my show. I will have constant support and communication with my teacher, with that master teacher, as they'll still be in the classroom. I'm not allowed to, be there alone, uh, because again, this isn't a paid position. So they would have to be in the class or they have to get a sub, and in order for me to still maintain that whole unpaid student teaching position. As far as I found in the research, I don't have to have hours working with English learners, as opposed to I know the intern and the sped up intern program, where I think they're required to have like 40 or like 46 hours of working with English learners. So if I've done my research correctly, the student teaching option, that is not a requirement, just the initial 600 hours, 120 hours of observation, and 480 hours of actual student teaching. Okay. Evaluation requirements according to the CDC. I'd have to submit a minimum of 3 videos per clinical practice course. So I have 4 clinical practice courses, which means I have to submit a total of 12. And generally, they're due the 3rd week, the 5th week, and the 7th week. So first, third, about midway, and then towards the tail end. I'm assuming just to see the progression and making sure that any feedback they give me, I'm applying to in the classroom as I continue on. Okay, what happens if formal evaluations are not complete? Based on my research and what I've seen, a couple things may happen if I were to fail to submit my evaluation. So one, I can get a failing grade, which is not good. As previously mentioned, I need to hit a B in all my classes minimum, or I have to repeat that class. So that leads into the next bullet point, which is delayed completion of the program. So my goal is to finish this in about 12 months in that year, which is generally, if I'm going full time, I should be able to. If I'm not able to submit these, it's going to take a little longer. And because of that, I would have to file for an extension. There's a class or a placeholder class because I have to be fully registered as a student continuously. I can't take gaps or breaks. So I'd have to file and register in this class that keeps me enrolled in Alliant University, so I'm still able to try again when that opportunity presents itself. And then worst case scenario, I could possibly be dropped if they find that I've been negligible overall and not keeping my end of the agreement and standards that were brought forth to me from Alliant University. Okay, backup plan if I get off track. Short answers for me personally, I don't have a backup plan. I'm going all out. But if the unfortunate event that, you know, I can't or I do fall behind, I'm gonna get in contact immediately with my mentors, my um, student teaching advisor, anyone at Alliant University that can help me get back in on track and into the program in order for me to complete it. And if that means I have to register and give myself a break so I can continue constant enrollment, then I will. If I have to pay out of pocket, then I will. But worst case scenario, if I can't complete it and I just so happen to be kicked out or say, hey, we got to release you, I'll go back in working what I'm doing now as a student teacher, and then get my act together and try again, either through this program if they accept me, another program, or maybe pursue a different route in terms of um, employment. But that about sums up my program pathway, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this program. I think so far it's been amazing, and I can't wait to learn even more. Thank you.